Hello, this is Tony Heller from RealClimateScience.com with the latest climate magic. Carbon dioxide is an essential trace gas which forms the basis of all life on Earth. The process of photosynthesis combines sunlight, chlorophyll, carbon dioxide, and water to produce plant growth. And the plants in turn release oxygen into the atmosphere which we depend on to breathe. Earth is the only planet with a lot of oxygen in its atmosphere. But this oxygen wouldn't exist without the carbon dioxide and the photosynthesis going on. But in the year 2007, the United States Supreme Court ruled carbon dioxide as a pollutant. This was a rather impressive work of legal alchemy. They magically turned an essential and harmless gas into a pollutant. Alchemy was traditionally centered around more constructive enterprises like trying to turn lead into gold. But the behavior of the U.S. Supreme Court and the EPA has been less constructive. They magically turned a chemical which is essential into a harmful one. But now we have a new form of alchemy centered around methane, which is also known as natural gas. People in the Western world are very fortunate. We have an adequate supply of natural gas to do our cooking and heat our homes with. For well over a century, people have been relying on natural gas to keep themselves alive. And when the supply runs short, like it did in Texas last Valentine's Day, people freeze to death very quickly. But the press and Democrats have declared war on natural gas. They claim that methane is the most potent greenhouse gas and threatens to destroy the planet. I've made several videos and blog posts explaining in detail why this claim is complete nonsense. I don't want to repeat that again because that's not the main point right now. But before I move on, I want to stress that the White House has been shutting down natural gas production in the United States. The first week in office, the Biden administration banned all new production on public lands. But here's where the alchemy comes in California. The California governor knows that his state needs more natural gas to stay functional. So the state of California simply declared methane to be carbon-free. This allows them to claim that they're reducing greenhouse gases while ramping up their methane usage. The latest form of climate alchemy has removed the C from CH4. The Biden administration didn't want to increase the methane allowances in Texas in February, but they're fine with doing it in California. Apparently, the Biden administration only wants to freeze people in Republican states. And with an election coming up next year, they don't want a lot of angry people in California voting for the Republicans. The Biden administration has largely shut down U.S. oil and gas production, which Europe has traditionally depended on. So we might ask, where's Europe going to get their gas from? That's an easy question to answer. Europe is getting their gas from Biden's friends in Russia. The Russian economy was having a lot of trouble under President Trump, but since Biden took office, their economy is booming. And there's another agenda behind this methane climate alchemy. The misinformation campaign about the greenhouse gas potential of methane has been largely targeted at the beef industry. Newspapers like the New York Times have been working for years to try to create a link in the readers' minds between hamburgers and bad weather. They say that 95 million cattle in the United States are warming up the planet out of control. That's about the same number of cattle as the number of bison which roamed the Great Plains during the 1500s. The 1500s was the peak of the Little Ice Age and the coldest period of the last 10,000 years. For some reason, the methane emissions from 100 million bison during the Little Ice Age didn't do a very good job of warming up the planet. This apparently is another form of climate alchemy where experts have changed the properties of methane over the last few decades. We know that Russia is benefiting from the Biden administration's alchemy, but there's another beneficiary as well. On the same day in February when people were freezing to death in Texas because they couldn't get enough methane to heat their homes, Bill Gates was out promoting his fake beef products. Bill Gates has been buying up farmland in the United States and now is the #1 agricultural land owner in the country. And he's one of the primary people pushing the current climate junk science and alchemy. Bill Gates got much richer during the pandemic and he wants to keep the momentum moving upwards. Toto has been pulling back the curtain on these scamsters for almost 14 years. You can visit him, Kyrie, and Caesar on the web at realclimatescience.com.